Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, inshallah. This is going to be our video number 23. And today I wanted to, when I work on a word that we've been continuing doing this, I'm trying to slowly incorporate other things that we've learned so far. So instead of just giving you like a little short, out of context sentence, was not even going to be a sentence, it's just something short. Instead of doing that, I'm trying to kind of now give you most of the ayah that I'm getting this stuff from. So then we can go back and at the same time analyze most of the things that we've kind of studied so far and then we understand. So this would be a great way to review and also at the same time talk about the words that we've covered in the past lessons. And at the same time, we're going forward and we're learning the new words, inshallah. So just bear with me. Sometimes it gets a little bit longer for each word because of those reasons that I just described. And I think, inshallah, at the end, I think we will be more, you know, satisfied with learning all of these instead of just little bits and pieces and then going back later and trying to put it all together. So I think if we just go forward and just kind of slowly put everything kind of together as we're, like a snowballing. So it just kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger as we're going forward. And we're just putting all the things that we've covered along with the new words that are coming. And then every time we put an ayah or sentence up here, hopefully the purpose is that for you guys to be able to and point and say, oh, I know that word, I know that word, I know this word, I know what this means. And so if you look at it, you're like, wow, I understand 40% of this ayah or 30% of the ayah or whatever, 80% of the ayah. So this would be our goal, inshallah, to be able to achieve that. Okay, so we will go ahead and start. We're going to be working on the word a'malun. A'malun. Okay, as always, we do the roots, the three-letter root, and then we do the meaning. Okay, so the meaning would be action. Another word would be your deeds. Your actions, your deeds, what you're doing, and things of that sort. Okay, and so we have the root is amala. Amala. Okay. All right, inshallah. So we will go ahead and write the ayah from the Quran. Okay. This is bal qulubuhum. Qulu. Sorry. There's no wow here. Qulubuhum. في غمرة غمرة من هذا ولهم أعمال من دون ذلك هم لها عاملون. لها عاملون. and then it stops there. Okay, I know it's kind of long, but just kind of let's be patient, inshallah, so we can learn. All right, so let's see. I will point out all we're kind of like underline or circle all the things that we've covered so far. And so let's see. We've talked about bal, meaning like rather. We talked about fi, means in. Let's just put that. This means rather or means nay. Sometimes it depends. We talked about a home. This is a plural. For more than one. It's a pronoun, sorry. Pronoun. Okay, so these are the things we know so far. Ghamratin is a new word. We don't have to worry about it right now. Min, we know this one. Means from. And then hadha, we covered this. Hadha means this. Remember, we talked about this. Wa is also, we talked about this, means and. Conjunction letter. Sometimes wa is they're meaning like and then sometimes wa means while this happened. So it just, we will figure that out inshallah from the context. And then here again, lahum. This is two things here. La, we talked about la means for. Home, again, there's another home, so it's the same thing, meaning them. Them. Well, here's our word for today that we're talking about, a'malun. And then again, min is from. Duni, duna, we already covered this too. Other than, or asides or besides or something like that. Dhalika, we talked about dhalika means that. Here it is, home again, them. And then laha, two things. La, lahum, laha, same thing. For laha, for it. So it depends here. Here, this would be like a feminine because it's ha. For the pronoun has is for feminine. But because of the context, this ha is going to have to go back to something that's talking about that it's feminine. So, but it's a feminine pronoun. Pronoun, meaning her. Amilun. Now, here's the word, another version of amal. So the root is amila. Again, see amila. And these things are extra that's coming. So this also means that they're doing their actions, their whatever it is that they're doing. Okay. So, mashallah, if we look at this, you guys should be proud of yourselves that you guys already know this much from this one ayah, and you can just dissect it and figure out, okay, well, I already know all of these things. Now I have to tackle the big words. Qulubuhum, if you don't know what qulub is, ghamrun, ghamratun, a'mal, and then amilun. So now it's much easier because now you can fill in the blanks and try to figure out what the rest of the sentence means. So here it says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, bal qulubuhum, rather, nay, their hearts, qulub is plural for qalb, meaning heart. Their hearts are in ghamratin. They are in, they're kind of like covered. So let's put here. Their hearts are covered. Covered from min hadha, from this. So what is this min hadha goes to? It goes back to the Qur'an. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that no, rather their hearts are covered from this, meaning this haza is the Quran. وَلَهُمْ, and for them, أَعْمَالٌ, and for them their actions are مِن دُونِ ذَلِكَ, it's other than this. Meaning, hum laha, and they above it, like their actions. So now we figure out ha means goes back to their action. A'malun. Amilun. So basically, when we just translate this again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that rather their hearts are in covering, they're covered min hadha, from this, meaning from the Quran. وَلَهُمْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ مِن دُونِ ذَلِكَ, and for them their action is something else. هُمْ لَهَا عَامِلُونَ, and they are, doing that, they're working on that action. So in this case, it's like their actions, if they're not following the Quran, then therefore by default their actions will be bad, evil, bad intentions. So here amilun, it's actually it's a amal that they're actually doing, so it's something that they're actually doing. So that's what this means. So hopefully we've understood a little bit more, inshallah. Here we talked about amilun, and this is plural for more than two people. So this waw and noon is telling you that this is a plural. Most of the time when you read in the Quran, sometimes, I don't know if I should say most of the time, but yeah, I mean, it ends in waw and noon. Let's see. I'm trying to, like hafidhin or amilun and zakirin and mu'minun, and words like this, it's always waw and noon at the end. So it's plural because it's talking about everybody together. All right, since this is taking up a lot of our space, inshallah I will go ahead and erase this and come back with a clean board. Okay, so the next word we have is hasana. Hasanatun. Root is hasana. The meaning is good deeds. Good deeds. Okay. So let's, inshallah, go ahead and start. This is a dua that we always recite. We already talked about this. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا آتنا في الدنيا Here's the word hasana. حسنة و في الآخرة again حسنة. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. And stops there. Okay. Inshallah, we should know. Okay, so Rabbana, that means our Lord. This is Rabb plus na. Na is the pronoun, meaning we, meaning so our Lord. Atina, this is something that we guys haven't covered. We haven't talked about this, so we'll leave that. Fi, we talked about this, meaning in. Ad-dunya, meaning this world. Hasana, here's this word, hasana, good deeds. This is our word. And here's our word, hasana, and hasana is repeated in here twice. Wa, this we talked about, meaning and. Here's the word again, fi, in. We talked about al-akhirah, the end. Fil akhir, in the end. Hasana, good deeds. And then this is also good deeds. Waqina, so again, this is wa, like this one, and. Qina, this is, we talked about the qaf. I told you guys on the last video that the qi itself, it's a word. Qi meaning save me, protect me. Here and this na, again, this is a pronoun like this one. Rabbana qina, see, wa qina. So this is the same thing, meaning that protect us. Adab, we talked about adab on the other video, meaning punishment. And we talked about an-nar, meaning the fire. Okay. So the only thing that's left here is pretty much like, okay, if you're looking at it so far, if you put everything in here, apply all the stuff that we learned so far into this ayah, you should come up with something like this. And then the only thing that we have not actually, here's another na. This also means us. Okay. So the atina and ad-dunya. So basically those are the two words that we haven't really talked about or covered. So now we can go ahead and translate it. Rabbana atina. Oh, our Lord, give us. Atina, meaning like bring for us or give for us, to us. Fid dunya, in this world. Fid dunya. I'm sure we've all heard of the word dunya. It's repeated so many times. Fid dunya, in this world. Hasana, good. Everything that is good, good deeds. It also means good deeds, but everything that's hasan, everything that is good. Wa, and fil akhirati, in the end. So this is in the end. Fil akhirati hasana, again, in the end, when we leave this world and we are resurrected on that day, and we want, our good actions, our a'mal to be good also on that day as well. So this is the prayer that we do, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us good and a'mal, good in this world and also in the akhirah. And then the last part is waqina, and save us from the punishment of the fire. All right, inshallah. So this, I think, hopefully this will be more helpful. I think we're going to be doing like probably one ayah for some of them on the board because they're kind of long, and I don't want to start something down here because then I'm not going to have enough space to move on. All right, so let's clean this up and we'll be right back. Okay, so the next word would be, of course, we talked about hasana, meaning good deeds. So the opposite would be sayyi'ah. Sayyi. I think I'm missing one little space here. Sayyi'ah. So we have the root is yeah. This is Hamza, by the way. Okay. Sayyi'ah. Sayyi'ah means bad, evil, you know, it also means those actions at the same time, like say bad actions, evil actions, or something that is just bad. سيئة. Okay. All right, inshallah. Let's go ahead and give the example. وإن تصبهم وإن تصبهم تصبهم سيئة سيئة يقول هذه من عندك عندك. So we stop there, so it stops on sukun. All right, so let's first of all highlight all the things that we know. We know this one, wa means and. There's something always before it. Wa in, we talked about this, meaning if. We are not talking about this part. See, there's a home, so this is the pronoun for all of them or them. Here's our word, sayyi'ah, meaning bad, evil. We haven't talked about the word yaqulu, so leave that. Hadihi, this is, we talked about this, meaning this. But hadihi is for feminine. We remember we talked about hada and hadihi. Hada is for anything that's masculine, and hadihi and anything that is feminine. We talked about min, from. Indik. Part of it we've talked about. I think we did talk about both of this. I'm not sure, but I think we did talk about inda and ka. So this is a pronoun, separate, meaning you. And this means like with, from, with you. Inda, with you. With, and then ka is you, with you. Or from you. Sometimes it translates as from you. So, all right, so let's inshallah read the whole thing. وَإِن تُصِبْهُمْ سَيِّئَةٌ يَقُولُوا هَذِهِ مِنْ عِنْدِكَ. And if like something bad, like a musibah, something bad that happens to them, comes their way or happens to them, what are they saying? يَقُولُوا. They say, this is هذه, this is from عندك, it's from you. It's because of you, it's from you, it's coming from you. So عندك. So this is part of the ayah from where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ that if anything good that happens to them, then they're happy, and then they say that this is from Allah. But if anything bad happens, sayya, anything bad or evil happens to them, then they point the finger to you or at you, and they say that this is because of you. This is coming from you. Okay? All right, inshallah. So let's erase this and we will be back. All right. So the next two word combination that I have, and I have one ayah that kind of has both of the words in there, and I'll go ahead and put that down and then we can talk about it, inshallah. So it's, the first word is khayr, khayrun. And then the other word is sharrun. Sharrun. And the root is, and then the root here is, okay. All right, so the meaning is khair, something that is good, you know, something that is better. Good, better. It also means, in a way, safe. Okay, and shar is the opposite of all of those things. It's bad, evil, um, meaning like there's no benefit in it. Something, it could be something that's worse, and you know, things of that sort. So let's give the example we have, inshallah, from the Quran. وعسى وعسى أن تكرهوا تكره تكرهوا شيئا شيئا. Let's go here. شيئا وهو خير لكم خير لكم. And then it continues. وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم. Okay, and then it stops there. All right, let's point out all the words that we know so far that we're familiar with. Wa, meaning and. Oops, sorry, let's use the pink one. Okay, an, meaning sometimes, depending on the context, it means that or if. So let's just put that, if. We did talk about shay'an, meaning a thing. And we talked about this, wa huwa. Wa is and, or sometimes this could be meaning while. Huwa, it's a pronoun for singular for he or it, masculine word. And then here's our word, khair, lakum. This is two things, la and then kum. La means for, and then kum is the plural for everybody, you all. You all, okay. And it's a pronoun. Pretty much the same thing is repeated, and then we go down here, and wa is and. We're not talking about this word. An, same thing. That, if. We haven't talked about this. Shay'an again means thing. Same thing, wa, and, or while. This is pronoun he or it for masculine. sharrun, here's our word. And lakum, same thing. Break it apart. La is for, kum, and then it's for you all. This is plural for everybody. Okay. All right, so let's just, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that there's something before this, the ayah started, and then it says after that it continues. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And perhaps this is talking about the ayah before this. This is talking about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the people to prepare for al-qital, for war. And then it says, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And perhaps it is something that you are displeased with it, meaning you're not happy with it. Karaha, meaning something that's displeased, not happy. Kariha, that's what it means. So takrahu, this is another form when it gets into grammar. It's talking about you. So an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum. And perhaps it's something that you are not happy with. You're displeased with it. It's a something. It's a shay'un. While it is good for you, it's better for you, it's safe for you, it's higher for you. You think it's something that's bad. You think that it's something that you're not happy with, and it displeases you. And it's talking about in a war here, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it's better for you, but you think it's not. And then on the flip side, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. And perhaps that is something, or it is something that tuhibbu, meaning something that you love, that you really like, that you really want. That you love something, and while that is bad, evil, worse for you. So, let's put this here. Love, like, want. So they kind of all, but the actual meaning of hub is to have love, to love something really. So anyways, this is, hopefully we got everything covered, inshallah. So I will go ahead and erase this and we'll be right back. Okay. So the next 3 words that I have here, they all have something to do with sin, and we'll just put them on the board and then we kind of discuss about them a little bit, inshallah. So the first one is ithm. Ithmun. And then root is hamza, tha, and mim. And this means sin. All right. Now we have the example from the Qur'an. Inna ba'd al-dhanni ba'd al-dhanni ithmun. Stop there, but then it continues. All right, so let's highlight things that we know already that we've covered. Inna, meaning indeed, no doubt, surely, for sure, absolutely. So there's a lot that goes on. This is for ismu tawkid, for emphasis. Inna ba'da. Ba'da, we talked about ba'da, meaning some. And we haven't talked about these things. So here's our word, ithmun. Of one is also meaning suspicion. And then, of course, we know this one that it is, it's a sin. All right. Inna ba'da dhanni ithmun. No doubt, some of suspicion is a sin. So this, what does this mean? That sometimes we suspect things about people, we just guess, we just think that, oh, this and this happened, oh, I think they did this and this. See, we're just assuming things, we're suspecting, that I think this happened, or I think that happened. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that don't do this. Even when you're doing this, this is a ithm, this is a very, very big sin. Okay. The next one we want to talk about is dhanb. The that's the root. This also means sin. Okay. And we have the example from the Qur'an. بِأَيِّ ذنب قتلت. And then it stops there. Okay. We did talk about harf of ba, billahi, billadina, bi kitab. Remember we said bismillahir rahman. So the ba is attached, so it means for, or it means several things depending on the context. So that's what it means. And sometimes, like when we say bismillah, so bi ismi illah, so in the name of Allah or with the name of Allah. So you see how it depends on the translation. So bi ayy, so this is attached, this is a ba, meaning like for, in. Okay. Ayy, I think we talked about this one too. Which. So here's our word, them, which is sin here. قتلت, killed. Okay. So this is, of course, taken from out of the context here, but it says on that day, it was a customs of the Arabs back in those days, thousands of years ago. Whenever they had a girl, female, would be born to them, they would be very, very unhappy that they had a daughter. So what they would do is they would, as soon as the child was born, they would bury the child, get rid of it, just bury her, because to them it had, like, a girl had no value, it was not a son. So, but at the end of time, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, when everybody's up standing, questioning, everybody is being questioned now, and here's where the young baby that was, basically killed, murdered, she will be asking, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ, in which or with which sin was I killed? Meaning, like, what was my gunah? What was my fault? For what reason was I killed? Right? So she will be asking, and then qutilat, the ta goes back to the feminine word that is talking about the female child that's being brought up, and then she is going to be asking this question. All right, and then the next one we have, let's see if I can fit all of this in here. junah. Yeah, you guys can see. Ja, na, ha. That's the root. This also means sin. You're probably wondering, well, why we have so many words for sin, but what does they mean? We're going to be covering that inshallah soon. Okay, so then the last one here means junah, also means sin. I'll give you the example. It says, ليس عليكم عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا تبتغوا تغوا تبتغوا فضلا فضلا من ربكم. Yes, we can see it here. من ربكم. Okay, and there's a jim in this top, but the ayah continues. Okay, let's first find out all the things that we know so far that we've covered. We've covered laysa, meaning not. Alaykum, we've talked about this. Ala and kum. So this is two separate things. We talked about these. Kum, of course, we've been talking about this, meaning it's the pronoun, and it's all of you. Ala, meaning upon. And it also means above, but depending on the context, so upon. And here's our word, junah, and if. We talked about this. If. We haven't talked about this. Fadl. We talked about fadl, I remember. Fadl. This means bounty. And then we talked about min, from. Rabbikum, Rabb, and kum. Kum again goes back to the same thing. Kum meaning pronoun for you all, and Rabb, of course, means Lord and God. Okay. So the thing that we have here is tabtaghu, that you're meaning searching. Seeking is another way. Okay. So now that we read it all together, there's something before it, obviously, and then it says, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ. There is no sin, upon you, if you تَبْتَغُوا, if you go in searching for what? فَضْلًا. فَضْلًا meaning the bounty from, where from? مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ, from your Lord. So I think this was taken from the when people are there for Umrah and for Hajj, and when they're finished, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them that when they're sitting around, then He's telling them that, there's no junah upon you, meaning that there's no blame on you. It's not a sin for you to, if you wanted to go and, go back to work, and you have to go and, and have your work done, or whatever you have to get back to your life, or whatever you have to do. So Allah is saying that you've done your part. So now, because some people, they would just sit there and pray and do whatever they have to do and continue the rest of their day there, or when you're done, then Allah is saying that there's no sin upon you if you have to go search for the fadl Allah, meaning go back to work, go back to whatever you have to do. All right, inshallah. So I will go ahead and erase this, and then we're going to talk about these 3 different types of sin that we have here. Okay, so let's break down these 3 words that we have that all 3 of them means sin, but we need to find out, well, then why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using so many? Why can we just use one word? Excuse me. And there's a reason why these words have been used in different places. So the first one that we talked about was ithm. Okay, or ithm. So we have translated as sin. Okay, but this has to do with, I'm going to write it down, morally corruption, and then socially harmful, and then this is like a major wrongdoing. So this is like bad. This is bad. So this is usually used for situations when it's dealing with like let's give the examples in a different color. Like you're talking about alcohol, drinking, murder, killing, cheating, lying, oppression, like the bigger sins. These are major sins that has an effect on your mind. It's a heavy toll on the mind when this is done. So this has to do with this kind of a situation. This is used, ithm, for these kind of situations when drinking and immoral and all of these things, because it's a heavier sin. All right, the next one we have is, we talked about them. We also said, let's see how we spell it. Them. This means sin also, but we have different degrees. All right, so this one, it says, this is like a general sin. General sin, like shortcoming. We have, this mostly has to do like act of disobedience. I think it's obedience is, okay, that's correct. Obedience towards Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. And this is also, it is said in the Qur'an that sometimes the prophets, asked for forgiveness, فَغْفِرْ لِي ذَنْبِي, so forgive my shortcomings, So this is kind of like a general, that is not really intentional, but it's just something that had happened, and it's like it's a step down from ithm. It's not, it wasn't your plan, it wasn't your intention to do something bad. It just was like an accidentally something happened, and whatever, so you were just this happened. So let's see. Example of this would be what I can think of is like you forgot to pray your salah, or or you lied about something that you shouldn't have. There was no need for it. Well, there's never a need to lie, but it's like we say white lie. So you said something like that, but you shouldn't have to do that, or you didn't have to do that. So this is that category here. And then the last one we have is junah. This is junah, and this is also translated as sin, but now we know that there are different categories. So this one is this basically means it's blame. Oops. Fault. This means to incline or lean towards one side, to one side. Okay. So the example here, it's given. So this is obviously it's a lesser category or level that's talking here. And so the example we have from the Qur'an is it says, I don't have the Arabic part written down here, but it says ليس عليكم جناح أن تقصروا صلاتكم, or something like that. But the meaning is, the translation is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that there's no blame or there's no fault upon you if you shorten your salah, your prayer, while you're traveling. So this is that kind of a category of junah. I mean, it's not really a sin, but it's more like a blame, or there's no fault or blame. And also this the word junah is that, and then the root is the same thing for janaha. And janaha is jana. It's still the way you write it, but it's where you put the kasra or the fatha, makes it have a different meaning. Janah here means like wings. So it makes sense because when a bird, has the wings open, and they're more like, if they're leaning one way, the wing is going this way, and they're leaning, then the wing is kind of going that way. So Arabic is so beautiful sometimes that it's just the way it's described. So leaning to one side, and then it goes back in another ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet to lower your janah, meaning lower your wings, meaning that lower yourself, to bring yourself a little bit low, because your maqam, your status is way up there, but bring yourself a little bit down for the people, so they can at least come up to your level, and so they can understand, where you're coming from and what you're saying. So janah in this case means like your wings, you have to bring it down. All right, so inshallah, I'm going to erase this and we'll be right back.